A homeless black man discovered a backpack containing a bomb at a bus station. In a moment of pride, he boarded a bus, triggering a devastating explosion that left the entire bus in ruins, creating chaos in the vicinity. The FBI swiftly gathered relevant information, revealing that the explosion claimed the lives of 10 individuals, including a 12-year-old girl and her mother, while dozens more suffered varying degrees of injuries. As of now, no organization has claimed responsibility for the attack, and there is no evidence linking it to recent explosions. Upon on-site investigation, authorities determined that the explosive device was a C4 bomb. Their next step involved searching for eyewitnesses who might provide valuable information. One injured woman reported seeing a person, described as having dark skin, abandoning the backpack near the station and leaving the scene. Unfortunately, due to the assailant wearing a hoodie and cap, his face remained unidentified. Surveillance footage revealed the individual placing the backpack, but no facial features were discernible. The suspect later took a taxi, prompting investigators to track down the taxi company and the suspect's drop-off location. Following the trail, investigators arrived at a house marked number 17. Upon entering, they encountered an unfriendly woman. Suddenly, gunfire erupted, leading to a pursuit where they encountered the black man holding a hostage. Both sides faced off, with investigators reluctantly allowing the suspect to leave for the safety of the hostage. However, the suspect was fatally shot, disrupting the lead. Returning to the house, investigators found no bomb but discovered a radical organization's flag in a wooden crate. They brought the woman in for questioning, and she revealed that the shooter was her husband, Belen. Upon learning of Belen's death, she angrily shifted blame to Itia. Isabella, the woman, informed them that her husband became radicalized after his father's death in the Somali War 5 years ago. Approximately 6 months ago, his brother and cousin were killed when the US bombed their community, resulting in 36 civilian casualties, including women and children. Since that tragic incident, Belen changed and started associating with radical elements, frequently meeting at a restaurant, with one individual named Hakim standing out. Belen often spoke of him, pointing out a scar on Hakim's neck. With the newly acquired leads, detectives decided to start their investigation at the restaurant where the suspect, Hakim, frequently met with radical elements. Detective Hobbs and his colleagues entered the establishment, quickly identifying a hat-wearing black man who seemed to be a leader. The female detective asked Hobbs to discreetly check if the man had a scar on his neck, indicating that he might be Hakim. Following Hakim into the restroom, Hobbs engaged in a casual conversation and confirmed the scar on Hakim's neck. As Hobbs prepared to leave, Hakim confronted him, discovering the concealed gun. Questioning whether Hobbs was a police officer, a gunshot rang out. By the time other detectives reached the restroom, Hobbs had been shot and Hakim had escaped. Despite Hobbs not surviving the encounter, the New York Police Department established a 5-block perimeter in the vicinity. Isabella, determined to bring Hakim to justice, learned from a restaurant waitress that Hakim had bragged about serving in Somalia a month earlier and claimed to have killed many people. The waitress had no further information. The female detective recalled Hakim sending a message while in the restroom, potentially connecting to the restaurant's Wi-Fi. By tracking the Wi-Fi signal, they discovered a moving signal reception area. Making a call to the phone associated with the signal, they found a child who reported someone had thrown the phone into a trash bin 10 minutes prior. Inspecting the surroundings, they spotted a security camera and identified Hakim in the footage. They also traced the waitress who assisted him, discovering she was on the move. Following her GPS signal, the detectives quickly located the car near a factory. Inside, they apprehended the waitress and discovered numerous weapons and explosives. The waitress resisted cooperation, threatening that another attack would soon occur as revenge against Americans for bombing Somali civilians. Soon after, Hakim's location was found in a subway station. By examining the photos on his phone, they speculated on his next target. a postal church near the World Trade Center. In a race against time, the detectives hurriedly headed to the location, ready to prevent the potential impending attack. Upon reaching the target location, the detectives quickly split up to search for Hakim. In no time, two of them spotted him, dropping a backpack before attempting a swift escape. The female detective and her colleague immediately gave chase, entering a building where a fashion show was underway. In a frantic situation, Hakim, armed with a gun, indiscriminately fired shots, injuring multiple innocent people. The detectives raced to the second floor, where they discovered a bomb inside the backpack set to explode in minutes. Hakim held a hostage, leading to a tense standoff. In a heart-pounding operation, bomb disposal experts successfully defused the imminent danger in the final 7 seconds. Reviewing the surveillance footage revealed that Hakim had taken several hostages during this time. Moments later, a SWAT team stormed the building. Surprisingly, Hakim managed to escape to the streets. The detectives pursued him, but a passing car knocked the female detective down. By the time she stood up, Hakim had distanced himself, slipping through their grasp. Subsequently, the FBI swiftly secured all airports, borders, and ports. As 2 gunshots echoed, a blue car sped by. 2 passing nurses, driven by professional instinct, rushed to provide aid. While administering first aid, they urged bystanders to call for an ambulance. This incident led to the discovery of 2 girls who had been captive and abused for 8 years. Detectives were informed by colleagues that the deceased, identified as Martin, served as the head of the New York Federal Reserve Bank and was also an economist and father of 3. His wallet and phone were found at the scene, ruling out robbery and suggesting a murder. Martin had sustained 2 gunshot wounds to the chest. Nearby cameras did not capture audio, and the nurses revealed that they attempted CPR, but Martin could not be revived, and there was a blue car speeding away. Further investigation revealed that Martin was not just a bank executive, but also an economist and the father of 3 children. The absence of surveillance at the scene complicated the case, marking it as yet another challenging mystery for the detectives and their colleagues. Based on information from the DMV, the deceased Martin was the owner of the blue car. Following the vehicle's trajectory, detectives Markey and her colleague reached the identified location. Upon apprehension, they discovered the blue car, stained with blood on the windows, and a bloody handprint in the driver's seat. Perplexed by the scene, the detectives noticed a dashcam in the car. Extracting the footage revealed the car initially driving normally, followed by a collision with a person, leading to the subsequent shooting. However, the video abruptly ended, indicating the perpetrator had deliberately turned off the recording. Facial features of a woman from the video were extracted, but strangely, there was no information about her in any database. The animal and plant quarantine system identified fingerprints matching the ones left in the car. The suspect was named Roy, a 23-year-old with a prior record of armed robbery. His residence was 3 blocks away from where the blue car was found. As Markey and her colleague prepared to ascend to the 3rd floor, they unexpectedly encountered Roy, who fled upon hearing they were FBI agents. After a chase, they apprehended him and found a handgun, which, upon ballistic testing, proved unrelated to the victim's fatal shots. Roy insisted he didn't steal the blue car, but found it with an empty ignition key, planning to clean it and sell it to his cousin. Reviewing nearby parking lot surveillance footage revealed a person entering and exiting the lot with slightly different attire. Unless Roy changed clothes, it became apparent that he wasn't the murderer. Subsequent ballistic testing confirmed Roy's gun hadn't been fired, leading to the conclusion that he was not the killer. Instead, the murderer likely abandoned the car before walking away. Markey and her colleague returned to the location where the killer had parked the car, hoping for new clues. They soon discovered bloodstains on the ground, following which they traced the path to find an injured woman on the ground. Shockingly, she died moments later, and, peculiarly, there were no identification documents on her person. Soon after, a prescription receipt was discovered amidst nearby leaves. revealing 84 individuals named Sarah. The prescribing doctor, a medical PhD entangled in legal issues, was quickly identified. Surprisingly, he explained that the deceased, whom he believed to be treating for severe pneumonia, received a substantial sedative injection that morning and intended to purchase medication. He doubted her name was Sarah and noticed signs of abuse on her body. Although his office lacked surveillance, the entrance did have a camera. Reviewing the footage showed the deceased and a man, identified as Luke, arriving at the hospital. As they departed, a struggle ensued, leading to the successful extraction of Luke's facial image. Luke, a 43-year-old former luxury car driver, was promptly targeted by Isabel, coordinating with the SWAT team. However, upon reaching his residence, they found it empty, suggesting a recent escape. Discovering a hidden door behind a cabinet, they entered the basement. Maggie observed industrial-grade soundproofing foam on the walls, adorned with markings. The final room revealed evidence of past imprisonment, with recent signs indicating a heated confrontation. Maggie urgently called for a K-9 unit and drone support. DNA analysis identified the deceased as Julie, who had disappeared 8 years ago with her sister Gabe. Further investigations led them to Julie's father, who was informed of her mourning demise as efforts intensified to locate Gabe. The sisters had been held captive by Luke for 8 years. Subsequent findings indicated Luke had used a debit card at an ATM 10 minutes prior, attempting to withdraw cash with an insufficient balance. Responding to the ATM location, the detectives discovered it in a pizza shop. Witnesses described Luke's altercation with the ATM and his presence with a teenage girl, identified as Gabe. Upon retrieving surveillance footage along Luke's route, FBI agents quickly located him and Gabe. Zooming in on the images, they confirmed Gabe's identity. A search of Luke's online presence revealed a solitary existence. No friends, deceased parents, and no siblings. However, he had a destitute cousin who might be a target for financial help. As expected, Luke went to his cousin's house, robbing him and inflicting injuries. The cousin recounted Luke's troubled past, from abusive foster care to expulsion after being adopted due to violent tendencies. Now, Luke had not only robbed his cousin, but also taken his red car. The FBI decided to track Luke through his vehicle, discovering his movements and preparing to intercept. The red car finally appeared in their sights, and they rushed toward it. As they closed in, Luke sought refuge in a clothing store. Due to uncertainty about potential hostages inside, the FBI hesitated to act recklessly. Snipers took positions, and they obtained surveillance footage from inside the store. Negotiations began over the phone, but Gabe secretly obtained a metal pipe and knocked Luke down when he least expected it. Moments later, Gabe, armed with a gun, unexpectedly fired shots outside. Furious, destroyed the phone. Upon regaining consciousness, Luke continued deceiving Gabe about her sister's whereabouts. Gabe's father, having not seen her for 8 years, arrived, struggling to communicate with her. Gabe, doubting Luke's words, shot him when her father was on the phone. As the standoff continued, a bearded man threw a phone inside, telling her father to talk to him. Before this, Luke had falsely informed Gabe that her father had died. While Gabe spoke with her father on the phone, Luke suddenly lunged at her. Gabe is now safe,